Have you ever failed to notice something obvious? Like texting a friend, looking down at your phone. Like, we've been there, you've been there, I've been there. So here's one of the things. I think we need to take a awareness test right now.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
Okay, so just in case you think I'm messing with you guys, I've got the video right here. We'll zoom in and come down. I'm not gonna cut this clip at all. Here we go. And this is the video from the beginning, right? So, back it back up. Here we go, let's see. Click here, and I'm gonna go back, look. 10 seconds in, 14 seconds in, here's our bear, right here. So as we kick off a new series today, we're gonna talk about the things that we notice and the things that we fail to notice. Sometimes a lack of attention about where we put our glasses or where our cell phone is might cause us some bumps and bruises. But when it comes to our lack of attention to important things, to things like people, it really matters. Maybe at your school and in your classes, there's a person that looks like they have it all together on the outside. They've got it, they know what's happening, but really on the inside, there's a big struggle because, well, their parents are going through a divorce. Or maybe there's that quiet girl that's always in the class and you just think that maybe they're a little bit shy or just don't want to talk, but they actually struggle with depression and anxiety. Now, I know I'm just making these scenarios up off the top of my head, but I'm also sure that these probably aren't too far-fetched. They're probably not too crazy. And you have people at your school or on your sports team or people that you do life with that are in that boat, that are struggling, that are looking for somebody to see them, to see that moonwalking bear in the chaos of the life that they live in. Now, there's a lot of stories out there, but one of the stories we're gonna talk about today is the story of a man who was constantly focused on the needs of others. It's like he was always looking for that moonwalking bear, and that's Jesus. See, Jesus came at a time when there was a lot of other religions out there. There was a lot of other things to believe, but he was doing things differently because he wasn't just teaching, he was meeting people's needs. He was feeding people. He was healing people. He was doing stuff that people had never seen before and doing it for people that were most commonly ignored. One of the things that Jesus also did was he sent his disciples and his guys out on these, I guess you could call them short mission trips. And he told them, he said, hey, go find people, heal people, meet people, tell people about me, and then come back and give me a report. So there comes this point where Jesus had sent his disciples out on one of these missions, and they come back and they've got all this great news to tell Jesus. Man, they had healed people, they had been meeting their needs, and then they realize that they're exhausted, and Jesus realizes they're exhausted. So he looks at him and says, listen, we need to go and find a quiet place. You've been so busy that you haven't even had a chance to eat. And so they get in a boat, and the plan is to go across the lake, to find some peace and quiet, to find some food. But what happens is that the people in the community realize that Jesus is there, the disciples are there. So they start following him, and they show up in this huge number right there. And the disciples had gotten to this point where they had had enough. And in Mark chapter 6, this is what we find. It says, late in the afternoon, his disciples came to him and said, this is a remote place. It's getting late. Send the crowds away so that they can go into a village nearby and buy some food, buy something to eat. And then Jesus responds in kind of a strange way. And he's like, well, why don't you go buy something for them to eat? You feed them. So the disciples look at him and they're thinking, how in the world are we going to feed him? They're like, what are we supposed to do? We couldn't even work a whole year and have enough money to feed all these people. And what Jesus was doing in that moment is he was testing them. He was checking to see if they were seeing the needs of others, if they were really seeing the opportunities that were right in front of them. I mean, this was a God who had done crazy, amazing things. Of course he could have fed them all, but they didn't see it. I don't know, maybe the disciples were just so exhausted and so hungry that they just looked right past the needs of all of those people that were there and missed an opportunity. See, here's the thing. God brings people into your life and in my life, and it's easy for us to miss those opportunities to help people, but that's not what he wants us to do. He's placed us in great position with your friends at school and with your family and with others to be that person that is meeting their needs. One of the things that I know is true is it's really easy for us to live a me first kind of life. That kind of life that's like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I want and I'm not gonna worry about the needs of others. As a matter of fact, there's this crazy article that I read that in the last 6 or 7 years, there's been something like over 250 deaths by selfie-cide. It's when people are trying to do crazy, dangerous stuff while taking a selfie and they fall and they kill themselves or they get hit by a car. Actually, the most frequent selfie-cide is getting hit by a train. Now, here's the question. Is there anything wrong with selfies or taking pictures of yourself? No, there's not anything wrong. But what it is a perfect illustration of the fact that we're a lot more worried about how we look than oftentimes the condition of other people's hearts. Now, in the Bible, we also find this passage from Paul that is absolutely incredible. And this is what it says. It says, don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves. It's developing and creating this lifestyle of looking out for the needs of others. Here's something that you can do this week. On Friday at 5:30, we're gonna have a tailgate at Topsail High School. It's Topsail High School's last home game against New Hanover, and we're gonna turn out there, get the school spirit going, and our squad's gonna be representing there with some hot dogs and all kinds of cool things for you guys to do. So maybe that's where you can find that person that's lonely, find that person that needs somebody, and do something about it. Invite them to come out this Friday night at 5:30. You don't wanna miss it. And there's also some spots left for our squad weekend. I'm right here and I'm starting to get my stuff packed for an amazing weekend that we have coming up. Our Squad weekend. We're so pumped about this weekend for our Squad students. We want to make sure that you don't miss out on it. November the 30th through December the 2nd, we're going to be hanging out with our friends at Crowder's Ridge Camp and Conference Center. Now, if you've already signed up for D Now, you're good to go. We just move you right over into this new registration. But if you haven't got signed up, there are still spaces left. This is going to be an incredible weekend that we have together, a weekend of worship, a weekend of learning more about God, and then we're just going to flat out have some fun. They've got this like winter tubing thing going on. They've got a ropes course, all kinds of stuff that they've added, and our friends at Crowder's Ridge are gonna make it happen. So you don't want to miss out on it. Make sure you're there. You can go to renochurch.org or you can check us out at oursquad.tv/events. Hey, listen, we got a few spots left. We want to see you there, so get signed up.